So guys, in today's video I'm going to give you what I believe are the best tips for you to improve at Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Let's be very clear, this game is very different to most Call of Duties that we have played of late. It's a totally different beast in itself, but these tips here should help you improve as an individual and help you emulate the player that you've always wanted to be. Now these tips are aimed at newer players, beginners, intermediate players, and some tips may actually help those veterans of you out there. So the first thing we're going to start off with is one of my most asked questions on this channel, and that is sensitivity. Mr. Tracky, what is your sensitivity? What sensitivity should I be using? Now this is a very fickle thing, and there are so many people that will fool you into thinking that their specific sensitivity is best for you. One of my favourite players is Mark of J, and Mark of J plays on a 6/6 I believe, but I play on a 9/9 because the 6/6 just does not work for me. Now it is down to individual taste, but there is a few simple ways to work out what the best sensitivity is for you. Now you need to work out what kind of engagements you're getting into, and in all honesty, the majority of engagements you will get on in this kind of game is short to medium range engagements, just because of the design of the maps. So what is the easiest way for you to work out your sensitivity? What is perfect for you? Well, the easiest way without damaging your KD and your stats is to go into custom games, set up the bots on whatever difficulty you like, and just go around with a decent weapon. I would always recommend using an SMG because these are the hardest to control, and work out a sensitivity. Usually I would always go for trying to kill people off the hip first, just so your crosshairs are getting this person, then move on to aiming down sights. And when you're able to strafe, lock onto people, then you know that you're near about your ideal sensitivity. Don't follow all these YouTubers that people aspire to be like, and when I say this I mean people that are pulling off mad trick shots and 180s. This is not feasible if you really want to improve at this game. There are people that are lucky enough to be able to have a 12-15 sensitivity and find it quite easy to use, but believe me, the average player is just not going to be able to process this information quick enough to keep themselves on target. So I'd always say go between a 4 and a 7, maybe 8. The reason I'm on a 9/9 is because I have a slightly higher raised analog stick on the right hand side, so the mechanical movement takes a lot more effort to move the stick, therefore I stay on target during the higher sensitivities. So people who like using control freaks, you will be able to up your sensitivity, but believe me, I don't see the reason in having a high sensitivity just to turn around and try and shoot people who have shot you in the back, because the likelihood in this game is if you're shot in the back, it's game over anyway. There's one last niche way that you would be able to help work out your sensitivity, and it's what I've done. I've got the luxury of editing software where you can slow down your footage and watch yourself play a game, and when you're aiming at targets you'll be able to see if you're overcompensating or undercompensating when you're aiming at targets. This would help you ascertain whether you need to go up or down on your sensitivity. Now there are very clever things on the PlayStation, I don't know if it's on Xbox, where you can go and share your footage. You can also go into the share factory and slow down that footage so you can ascertain whether you're overcompensating or undercompensating. So you've got the perfect sensitivity for you. Now it's time to work on your centering. Crosshair placement is one of the most important things you can do on Call of Duty Black Ops 4. It's the difference between winning and losing a gunfight. Often you'll win the gunfight before it even takes place if you have the correct crosshair placement, which is something I'm still trying to perfect to this day. With Treyarch raising the time to kill in Call of Duty Black Ops 4, there is a significant difference in winning gunfights. It's not just about the person who lets the shots off first now, it's about the person who's placing the shots in the best place. Things like high caliber 1 and 2 make such a significant difference in you winning the gunfight with the fastest time to kill in this game. The ICR is a very accurate weapon, but put this up against a gun like the Rampart and you place your shots in the face and the person with the ICR hits the body, more than likely the Rampart's going to win the fight just because they landed the better shots. These things do matter in this game, so placing your crosshairs, placing your red dot in positions where you know the enemy is likely to place their head when people are coming around doors. It's a bad habit, and a lot of us do it, including myself, where we end up aiming too low, and a lot of the times you'll end up shooting the enemy in the crotch or in the chest. There are weapons out there that will actually compensate for this, and just the recoil alone will take you up to the headshot that you need to finish that kill. But you can see now I'm trying to manipulate where the players are going to come from and use my red dot to essentially take them out with the best shots and the best shot placement possible. And it's something that will take a lot of practice, but again, it's something you can do with the bots if you don't want to sacrifice your KD or your stats. Go into a private lobby, have an enemy or a friend standing in front of you, get that headshot measured up, and then try and play that over in your mind to always have your crosshairs at head height. It's something that will make such a difference to the amount of gunfights that you will win in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Next up on the list is situational awareness, and this is what is the difference between a good player and a great player. There are always people that you'll come up against where you just think to yourself, how did they know I was there? How do they always know where I am? How are they always getting their shots off first? It's because their situational awareness is just at a peak. It's unbelievable. These newer CODs that we've had over the last few years are totally different to the older CODs, and there are a lot more information that people miss, valuable information. How many people forget or miss that their enemy vocally says what they're doing? For instance, Firebreak, when his reactor core is fully charged, he will say reactor core hot. This is an enemy that will say this, and if they're around the corner, they're giving away their position without them actually being on your heads up display. Your heads up display is going to be your #1 in terms of information. It's where you get your red dots when people let shots off that are close to you without suppressors on the weapon. When you use your UAV, it is lighting up people like a Christmas tree to tell you what position they're in. It also tells you where your teammates are, so you can get an inclination as to where the enemies are going to be coming from. Again, it is very important to use these audio cues to your advantage. If you've spent £250 on Astro A40 TRs like myself, then you want to use them to the best of their ability, and there are many players that don't even realize that audio cues are made by the specialists in the game, so they will give away your position also. So this is why you need to be aware of what you're doing. Now, this next tip may be obvious to a lot of people, but because of how people have played Call of Duty games for years, I see a lot of people struggling to make this adaptation to Call of Duty Black Ops 4. And the one thing that you need to have to play this game well is patience, guys. Unbelievable amount of patience. One of the worst habits I see in this game, and it happens to me also, I am very guilty of it, is chasing kills. Because of things like stim shots, you can't go chasing kills. If you tag somebody and you don't complete the kill and they're literally just round the corner, do not go rushing in. In fact, you're probably better if you back off, stay facing the same way, but start to back off and reposition yourself, so if that person does come to engage with you again, you're somewhere else and you can catch them off guard, because they're waiting for you to make that charge, and they're already set themselves up in a position where they're offensively going to be in a better position than you, especially if you've both traded and you're both hurt. guarantee you people are going to go around the corner, and the first instinctive thing to do in this game now is to heal. I've been so guilty of it, guys, and it gets me killed so often. It's something that I'm weaning myself out of, but I also would say to you that bit of patience is going to be the difference between you getting your streaks and not getting your streaks. And speaking of streaks, you need to slow it down in this game. Once you have got some headway and you're probably 1 or 2 kills off your next streak, you need to start slowing it down and be more methodical about how you're playing. Because of the higher time to kill, there are just some times where you'll get caught off guard and that's your streaks ruined. You need to start slowing it down when you're close to your streaks, because you need to value your life in this game. It's so easy to just die like that because of the time to kill. Sometimes gunfights just don't go your way. Someone gets the headshot better than you. So if you have to hang in a doorway where you know someone's coming for that 1 extra 100 points, it is well worth doing if you know you're about to unleash an AC 130. That's going to change the game for you. So slow it down and have some more patience when you're on your kill streaks, guys. This will improve your KD overall, because streaks are going to help you gain more kills and obviously help you dominate the game. It's so easy to have that mentality to rush and just want that next kill, but you can't play this Call of Duty like Call of Duties of old. You will get absolutely annihilated for it. It's patience is key, and if you find that you're getting worked up inside, then you need to just slow it right down and rethink how you're going to get back into the game. Now, next up on the list is positioning, and it's not quite the same as centering your crosshairs. Positioning is something that a lot of people get so wrong in Call of Duty, especially Black Ops 4. And Black Ops 4 is a Call of Duty that it is paramount that your positioning is correct when you're getting in specific gunfights. Treyarch have a tradition of putting barrels and boxes on corners. Guys, they are there for a reason. They are there for you to use and abuse. Usually a gunfight is won by the person with the most cover. You often find people who quote unquote head glitch, and it's so hard to go up against these people. There's a reason why they're doing it, because the person that isn't the most accurate in the world is likely going to miss a few shots and hit what you're covering yourself behind. So be sure to use the environment to your advantage. If you have choke points in the map, there are ways to manipulate these to your advantage. Use these boxes, use these head glitches. When you're at windows, crouch. It makes it so much harder for your body mass to be hit because there's less mass for the enemy to hit. And finally, my last tip for this video is your loadout. Play to your strengths. It's all good trying to emulate players that you want to be like. I don't pick up sniper rifles because I know I am trash with them. I am absolutely awful, so you won't see me using sniper rifles. Now, if you're going for dark matter, then you're in a situation where you have to use these. But for people who just want to improve this game, stay away from weapons that you are bad with. Be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself, because this is the easiest way for you to get your KD destroyed. If you want to be a better player, use those weapons which you know you perform with well. This VKM is my go-to weapon when things aren't quite going my way. I know this is the one weapon which I always can rely on. If you're someone who likes to rush and get up in people's faces, it may be viable for you to use things like dead silence so people can't pinpoint where you're coming from. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to use an SMG. Me, I've always been an AR main, but this is the first game where I've found LMGs are dominant for me. The reason I find LMGs dominant is because you don't have to reload them so often. And the biggest dilemma I find myself going through, so I'm sure you guys will be going through, is whether to reload or whether to heal. Now, the LMGs take that out of the game for the majority of the game. You still have to reload, but just not as often, so you can concentrate on healing. So pick your loadout which best suits you. If you're a newer player, I'd always go for the UAV and the counter UAV. The counter UAV is probably the most effective perk in this game because people are so helpless in this particular Call of Duty when they haven't got their UAV up, because there are so many weapons you can't use a suppressor on. So guys, those are my most important tips to help you improve. If you believe there's any tips that you want me to cover in future videos, let me know down in the comment section. Guys, there are many buttons you could hit, but a like and subscribe button, I hope they tickle your fancy. And as always guys, don't forget to stay on the right track. Peace.